Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine Bond, aka JB, and today is day number 20 of my 100 Days of Videos project, which was inspired by the 100 Day Project. I started this project with the intentions of creating videos that are enlightening, insightful, helpful, and hopefully encouraging for you as I work towards finding my voice. And today what I'd like to talk about is back many years ago at this point when I was in 10th grade. And that year I decided that I wanted to join a sports team. I hadn't done any sports at that point. I hadn't really done too much, just a few clubs over the past few years of me being in high school. And I just was like, I'm going to join the cross country team. And so I ended up joining. Well, I was not only the biggest girl or biggest person in general on my cross country team, but I also was the slowest person on my team as well. I would dread going to practice, and we had practice 5 days a week, but the part that I hated about practice the most was after we would get warmed up, we would start doing our running sessions for the day. And pretty much before I had even gotten across the start line, my teammates, they were already long gone, just had sprinted, already well past where the start line was. And me, I'd always be by myself for the most part, and I was always the last person coming in. But gradually over time, I began losing some weight. I believe I lost about 20 pounds back during that semester, and I increased my speed, going from maybe only being able to jog like a few dozen yards to being able to go over 3 miles of slow jogging without stopping, and actually somewhat catching up to some of my teammates. And I was proud of myself. But one of my regrets from back then is that I actually never participated in any meets. Now, meets it's just basically where high schools come together and their different cross-country teams will compete against one another. So I ended up going to majority of the meets that my team was a part of, but I am ashamed to say I never actually ran in any of them. And I always had a great excuse on why I couldn't run. I was like, well, I'm really tired, or I don't think I'm going to do as well today. I even had a knee brace that I would wear at the time, just so I could have an excuse not to run. Well, at one particular meet that stands out for me is I was standing on the sidelines like I normally did, rooting for my team to come in, and in the distance, it got not only my attention but everyone's attention. But there was this girl who was looks like she was probably 270 or if not 300 pounds, and we see her and she's kind of walking up the hill, and in the distance you could see her eyes, you could see her face as it was lighting up, because she could see the finish line. And so all you see is just her arms, and they started pumping, and she picked up her speed, and she went from walking to doing a slow jog, and you just see that she was giving her all. Her face was red, she was sweaty, she was completely out of breath, looking tired, but there she was. She could see her destination, she could see that goal that she was working towards, completely and utterly focused on it, and she took off for it, doing the very best that she could. Well, one of the cool things that I really liked about cross country is that it's such an encouraging sport, even for people who aren't on your team. You'll often hear people say all sorts of encouraging cheers, or say mantras to themselves like stay strong, keep going, don't stop, you're almost there, different things like that. And so everyone in the crowd, just about, was just screaming and shouting together in unison, and they were clapping and they were cheering this girl on. And she was going and going and doing her hardest, and other people started coming and going at her pace beside her and encouraged her all the way until she crossed the finish line. And it impacted me so much just seeing her, because not only was I happy for her, but it put me to shame. And being someone who at the time who was also overweight, I knew how hard it was to run out there. I knew how hard it was on my body, and then some of the different elements out there, such as it being hot and not necessarily having water with you at all times. But I kept using that as an excuse on why I couldn't give my all, on why I couldn't go out there and compete, when really the problem was just that I was allowing that fear to stop me. I was afraid mostly of embarrassing myself, but also letting down my team and letting down myself. And so I allowed that fear to stop me from competing in competitions, just because I was afraid of being last place. And when I thought about it years later, because I will never forget that image of seeing that girl, it just reminds me that, last place is better than no place. Last place is better than being on the sidelines watching, or being at home sitting on the couch doing nothing, just wondering about it. She encouraged me so much back then, because she was bigger than me, and I, we had relatable struggles, but there she was out there doing it. And it didn't matter whether she was going to be made fun of. It didn't matter whether she was going to be tired and out of breath. It especially didn't matter to her whether she was going to be last place or not, because at the end of the day, she did the very best she could. She started her race and she finished her race, and she finished her race very well. So to whoever she is, I'd like to say thank you so much, because back then you really encouraged me, and that's an image that I always will hold in my heart as being just a pivotal moment in my life, where I realized that it doesn't matter whether you come in last, because at the end of the day, the person that you are competing most with is yourself. You're competing with this part of you that wants to be, in my case, sedentary. This part of me that wants the easy road, and that wants things to be the way that they used to be, in a certain sense, where I didn't have so many worries and concerns. That's the side that really I'm competing with, that I'm fighting against. It wants to hold me back. It wants to keep me complacent. But at the end of the day, I realized that complacency kills. There's either live or die. If no one ever goes up to a tree and asks a tree, "Hey tree, how far are you going to grow? How tall are you going to grow? Or have you gotten to your height yet?" Trees grow as much as they can. They never stop growing. Plants grow as much as they can. They don't stop. They don't say, "I'm going to stop at this level. I'm going to get to this level. I'm going to stop." They keep going and growing to their fullest potential. And that's the same energy and same spirit that should be instilled in us, is always working towards becoming a better person and growing, and not just settling, not just being okay with saying, "Oh well, I'll get to it one day. I'm not quite perfect enough." It's all there for you, but you have to want it. You have to be willing to go get it. You can't allow that fear that you have to stop you from it. There always will be great excuses, awesome excuses on why you can't. Instead of coming up with excuses, come up with reasons why. Tell yourself that you're worth it. Tell yourself when you finish it, it's going to give you a better quality of life, which it probably will. Tell yourself that it's going to help others around you. Don't give yourself these excuses to quit. Give yourself reasons on why you will succeed. On why, despite the fact that at the end of the day, if you do fail, that's okay. Because failure isn't failure isn't fatal, right? Even with me tripping over my words, failure isn't fatal. You learn from your mistakes. You grow from your mistakes. You take those with you and you use it to enrich other people's lives. You use it to change your own life. And you use it as part of this journey, as part of the experience. On the span of your life is only a small piece. Let it stay just that. Let failure stay just that. Put fear in its place. Let fear be a fuel. Don't allow it to be a fire. Don't allow it to burn down your dreams or burn down what you're working towards. Take it, stick it in the tank, and then crank it up. Put the fear in there. Put the encouragement in there. Put all of that in there and let that instead propel you forward even further than where you were planning on going. Just start. Just begin. Don't be afraid of being last place. Because at least last place is placed. It's somewhere. It's better than being on the sidelines like I was almost, 9 or 10 years ago. Being out there doing the race is better than doing nothing. So, before I get too much further into this preachy mode, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, share it with someone if you feel like it could potentially be helpful for them. And leave down in the comments below just your fears on maybe something that you thought you were going to be last place in, but you ended up being first place, or something that you were too afraid to start and then you ended up starting it. And share your experience on how, despite wherever you felt that you placed, that you ended up succeeding and making it. Or just share your failures in general. Share, like, one of my failures is a website that I started earlier this year, and I had great intentions for it. It was going to be a blog, and I was going to have all these different articles and videos and stuff I was going to be doing. I mean, the website I have is still pretty much a basic shell. It didn't pan out. It was a failure, but I learned from it, and I'm becoming better because of it. I'm not gonna say, oh well, I couldn't maintain a website, so I suck at maintaining stuff or whatever. Just learn from it. Probably gonna cut that out because it sort of sucks. Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much for watching again, and have a good day.